Hare Krishna. So, happy Radha Ashtami, and we'll share some stories of Srimati Radharani. So, Srila Rupa Goswami was one of the 6 Goswamis, and we are all called Rupanugas. So, why? Because we are the followers of teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami, and Srila Rupa Goswami was especially blessed by Srimati Radharani. So, in Ter Kadamba, Ter Kadamba is one of the place near Nandagaon. So, from Nandagaon it's very near, like 2 kilometers maybe. So, there is a between Nandagaon and Yavat. So, there is a place, this place, Ter Kadamba. Many people go there. This is the place where Srila Rupa Goswami Pad wrote this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu under this tree of Kadamba. Why it is called Ter Kadamba? Because Krishna used to, Tera means actually in local language calling. So Krishna used to come to this place and he used to call. So he will play flute. His different style flute is for different person. Sometimes he will play in such a way so that only gopis will hear and they will come. Sometimes he will hear only cowherd boys will hear and come. Sometimes he will play in such a way only cows will hear and come. So like he goes for herding the cows, and evening he has to bring all the cows back. So at this place he will come near this Kadamba tree and he will call them back evening. So that is why this place name became Ter Kadamba, because this calling back or calling is called Ter and the Kadamba tree. So this place became Kadamba, Ter Kadamba. At present there is a very nice ashram, some sadhu lives there, very nice place, a very nice kund is there, water body, and it is said there that once some foreign devotees came there, so they were clicking some pictures. So in that one of the picture they got 2 spiritual bodies they have seen, some lightning figure kind of thing which looks like Krishna and Balaram. That photo is still there. If you go sometime, if you are fortunate to go to Ter Kadamba, you can see that photo is there. In that photo some lightning, some kind of personality is seen which looks like some spiritual personalities. So but by shape or form it looks like Krishna and Balaram. So that's the place, very nice place, Ter Kadamba. So Sri Rupa Goswami would often sit there and perform his bhajan. So one day Sri Sanatana Goswami came to meet Rupa Goswami, and Rupa Goswami desired to offer some sweet rice to Sanatana Goswami. But in order to make sweet rice, he was not having any ingredients. So Srimati Radharani knows the desire of all her devotees, and she is always eager to fulfill the desire of her pure devotees. And Rup Sanatans are the very, they are the very pure. So Srimati Radharani understood that the desire of Srila Rupa Goswami, that Srila Rupa Goswami want to serve Sanatana Goswami, and she came there to the bhajan kutir of Rupa Goswami, and she came in a form of very young girl of some local village. So she had this rice, sugar and milk, everything she brought, and she said to Rupa Goswami that, "Oh Baba, oh Sadhu, what kind of bhajan you are doing the whole day in your kuti? Why have you not gone for collecting your madhukari?" Madhukari means like the sadhus will go and beg for some food. Okay, so she's saying that whole day you are sitting and doing bhajan, you should go and do some madhukari and get something to eat. So anyway, don't mind today, and I have brought some ingredient for you. So today you should make some sweet rice. Okay, take this. Who said this? Srimati Radharani. She came in the form of a village girl. Rup Goswami had been wondering how he would make the sweet rice. And Srimati Radharani, if he said, if you like, I can prepare sweet rice very soon. Rup Goswami got ingredient. He said, how I will make sweet rice? So she only said, I will make for you very, very fast. And within no time at all, she had prepared a very delicious sweet rice. Sweet rice is generally called kheer. Okay. In Vrindavan, the kheer is very famous. Okay. The whole area, the bhajan kutir in every place, it was filled with the nice aroma and smell of the sweet rice. And as soon as the cooking was finished, Srimati Radharani immediately disappeared from there. When Rup Goswami came back, he saw that the girl had gone, and he was somewhat surprised. He offered that sweet rice to Lord Govinda, and then he gave that sweet rice prasadam to Sanatana Goswami. Immediately Sanatana Goswami experienced ecstasy and lost himself in the transcendental taste of that ambrosial sweet rice preparation, kheer. He said to Rup Goswami, who has prepared such tasty sweet rice? Tell me. Rup Goswami said in detail about that how this cowherd girl came and she brought all the ingredients, and later on she only cooked everything. So Sanatana Goswami immediately understood that no one could cook such tasty sweet except his most worshipable Srimati Radharani. He thought to himself, it is not. So then, as soon as Sanatana Goswami saw that, Sanatana Goswami understood that this is not somebody, some normal person who cooked such a sweet rice. It is so delicious, and it's not only materially delicious, but when I eat this sweet rice, I am getting merged into transcendental ecstasy. So it is not some normal personality. Definitely, Srimati Radharani came and cooked the sweet rice. Sanatana Goswami understood. Then he said, he thought to himself that, what is this? It is not at all good that I am taking service from Srimati Radharani. We are supposed to serve them, Radha Govinda, but we are accepting what she is cooking for myself. It's not good. So then he warned Srila Rupa Goswami that you should never do like this again. Whatever work you might have, you must go out for madhukari and collect your own food. Because they are so pure devotee. Because they were always busy in writing scriptures. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction is that make so much scriptures so that people, fallen people like me, can take benefit and upgrade ourselves in bhakti. So they were doing this great job. So sometimes they were so busy, they will not go out for begging. So Sanatana Goswami said, no, you must go. Because if you don't go, Radharani will come with some food. So we don't want that. Okay. So whatever work you might have, but you must go out for madhukari and collect your own food. Because you did not do this, Srimati Radharani came to you. It is not proper that Srimati Radharani, who is so tender, must walk all the way here and serve you. Not at all good. So in this way, Srimati Radharani knows the desires of her pure devotees, and she is very eager to bless them like this. Okay. So Srila Rupa Goswami had composed many granth, many scriptures, and one is called Radha Stava, called Sri Chatu Pushpanjali. When this is one of the book written by Srila Rupa Goswami part. So another Goswami out of 6. So there are 6 personalities: Sri Rup, Sri Sanatan, Bhattaraguna, Sri Jeev Gopal Bhatt, Dasaraguna. 6 personalities called Shad Goswamis. Okay. So when out of these 6, one is Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. So when Raghunath Das Goswami read this book, he found one line where Rupa Goswami had mentioned that Radharani's Veni. Veni means this here, this choti, which girls will make one in between like that. Three will be there and they will tie in such a way that it looks only two. Okay, so Rupa Goswami mentioned that Radharani's Veni is like the hood of a serpent. Raghunath Das Goswami was not sure that it was proper to compare Radharani's hair with the hood of a poisonous snake. So on one special day, Shravani Purnima, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami was performing his bhajan on the bank of Radhakund. And still today, if you go, Raghunath Das Goswami's bhajan kutir is there near at the bank of Radhakund, and Samadhi is there. Always they will do kirtan there. So it was a very beautiful moonlit night at a nearby Kadamba tree. Raghunath Das Goswami saw a girl on a swing that was hanging from a branch. Raghunath Das Goswami, he was performing his bhajan, and that time he saw a girl on a swing, a jhula, that was hanging from a branch of a Kadamba tree. She was very beautiful girl and her friends were swinging her. Okay. The girl was could see her back. The girl had long hair that was very shiny and smooth and blue-black like a dark bumblebee. It was neatly braided and hung in a wavy line down her back. So when Raghunath Das Goswami saw it, he mistook it for a black snake. Immediately he screamed, "Oh foolish girl, you are so busy playing that you do not understand that a black snake is climbing up your back." And he ran towards the girl to save her from the snake. But as he reached the girls, he saw there was no snake. It was the girl's hair. Seeing his confusion, all the girls laughed and suddenly disappeared. Okay. Raghunath Das Goswami immediately understood that this was none other than Srimati Radharani, and the girls were her sakhis. He was struck with wonder. By this pastime he realized that Rupa Goswami's comparison of Radharani's hair with a serpent was correct and shown to be so by none other than Radharani's herself. Okay, so the point, because Rupa Goswami wrote that Srimati Radharani's hairs are like serpent hood. So Raghunath Das Goswami thought how this comparison is not good. But Radharani personally appeared and showed Raghunath Das Goswami that my hairs are like that only. Okay, so it's like that. I mean, both are such a great devotees that one is exactly writing what is the beauty of Radharani, and another one is seeing personally, and Radharani is coming and showing that no, it is like that. So that's a wonderful thing. Then near Radhakund one more pastime happened. So towards the western side of Sri Radhakund, so there is a place called Shivakhor. So once a female jackal came to drink water from the kund there. So the Brajvasi boys in a playful mood chased the jackal away with sticks. Fearful, the jackal ran into a hole to hide. Then these boys placed some wood and straw at the entrance of the hole and started a fire. The poor jackal had no way to escape except for the entrance, and when she came out of the hole, she caught fire. At that time, Radharani was passing by on her way to perform puja to Surya. One of her sakhis, witnessing the pitiable condition of the jackal, told Srimati Radharani. Hearing of the jackal's plight, Radharani's heart melted in compassion. In a voice choked with tears, she said, "Alas, on the bank of my kunda, Radhakund, this female jackal has to suffer like this? Bring her to me quickly. The Sakhis brought her to Radharani. As soon as the jackal saw Radharani, she fell at her lotus feet and started to cry very pitifully. Radharani gently stroked the top of the jackal's head and pacified her with sweet words. Thus, the jackal's life was successful by the mercy of Radharani. So, we can understand how kind and compassionate is Srimati Radharani. So, once there was a poor Brahmin and he had one daughter and she was at the age of marriage. So, but he was not having any money for giving for marriage arrangement and giving a suitable dowry. So, thus he was not able to give her any. So, he was not able to arrange for a girl's marriage. So, the Brahmana's wife had a sharp tongue. She was so much speaking habits. So, she sent her husband out to beg and told him not come back without a suitable dowry, money and all. So, feeling helpless, the Brahmana approached Krishna. So, being pleased with the Brahmana's surrendered mood, Sri Krishna bestowed upon him gold and jewels equal to the weight of Srimati Radharani. So, like whatever is the Radharani's weight, that much thing is given by Krishna to her. Okay, so now there is one more very famous pastime. So, if you have visited Vrindavan, then there is a place, there is a temple called Shri Shri Radha Shyama Sundar temple, which is established by Shyamananda Prabhu. So, Shyamananda Prabhu also got a special mercy from Srimati Radharani. So, Shyamananda Prabhu took birth in Medinapur district. He was a devotee of Lord Gauranga from birth. His childhood name was Dukhiya. Dukhiya accepted Hriday Chaitanya as his spiritual master. Hriday Chaitanya was staying at Ambika Kalna, it's near Mayapur. So he gave new name to his disciple Dukhiya. After initiation, he was known as Krishnadas. Okay. Krishnadas was very intelligent. His Guru Hriday Chaitanya sent him to Vrindavan to learn philosophy from Srila Jiva Goswami. Krishnadas stayed in Vrindavan and studied Bhakti Shastra under the guidance of Srila Jiva Goswami. Hriday Chaitanya is the Guru of Krishnadas. So Hriday Chaitanya had sent a letter to Krishnadas ordering him to surrender to Jiva Goswami in all respects and to act according to the instructions of Srila Jiva Goswami. So, under the guidance of Srila Jiva Goswami, Krishnadas was studying in Vrindavan. Then Srinivas Acharya and Narottam Das Thakur had already arrived in Vrindavan and were studying Bhakti Shastra with the 6 Goswamis. So, Krishnadas spent his time happily studying his Shastra in the association of Srinivas Acharya and Narottam Das Thakur. 3 are there. All together they are studying Krishnadas and Srinivas Acharya and Narottam Das Thakur. So by constantly hearing of the glories of devotional service to the Lord from Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishnadas developed intense desire to serve Sri Sri Radha Gopinath in a solitary kunja. He expressed to receive the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Following this order, so he heard so much Bhagavatam and then he developed this desire that he wanted to serve Sri Sri Radha Gopinath in a very solitary place. So he expressed his desire to Sri Jiva Goswami. Sri Jiva Goswami said, okay, so in this kunja, Seva Kunja, here you can sweep. Every day you do sweeping, brooming in this kunja every day. Okay. So every morning, this Krishnadas will come there and he will do sweeping. So, what was his desire? His desire was to receive the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So, Jiva Goswami said, if you do this sweeping of this kunja every day, you will soon receive the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So following this order, Krishnadas started to sweep the Kunja daily during the last part of night. That means very early in the morning, he will come and he will sweep there. So in the evening, Krishnadas would chant and dance in front of the deities and cry with intense devotion. After spending some days like this, he received the merciful glance of Srimati Radharani, and that night, wonderful thing happened. That night, as Krishnadas was sweeping the Nikunjavana, he found a nupur. And nupur means an anklet. One anklet in this small tinkling bells will be there. So he was sweeping there and he found this nupur there in the kunja. So with great happiness he picked up, and as soon as he touched this nupur, he became overwhelmed with ecstasy, because it was very transcendental, and as soon as he wanted to pick it up, so as soon as he touched it, he merged into ecstasy. So and the tears were not stopping from his eyes. With the tears streaming down his face, he held the nupur to his chest, sometimes putting it on his head, sometimes smelling it, and in this way he was completely merged in the ecstasy and crying, and those symptoms of ecstasy is coming out because of the touch and the smell, the intoxicating fragrance of this nupur. At that time, Srimati Radharani discovered that she had lost her nupur. So she was very worried and sent Lalita to search for the nupur in Nidhivan. He sent Srimati Radharani. She sent Lalita Sakhi that you go and search for my nupur. So Lalita Devi realized that Sri Radhika must have left her nupur there in order to manifest some special pastime. So without comment, she left for the kunja in Nidhivan. It was almost morning, and then Lalita Sakhi appeared in front of Krishnadas dressed as a simple maid servant, just a simple maid servant, like a simple girl. She came and she spoke to Krishnadas. She asked Krishnadas about the anklet. Then Krishnadas said, "Yes, I have found a golden anklet. And is it yours? Does that nupur belong to you?" So Lalita Sakhi replied, "No, it is not mine. It belongs to my dear friend, my dear Sakhi." So Krishnadas asked, "So how did this anklet come to be here?" So Lalita Sakhi said that my dear Sakhi came last night to pick flowers. She lost it so that time she lost it here. So Krishnadas asked, then why did she not come to collect her anklet? So Lalita Devi said, she is daughter of a great family. Now it is nearly day-night and she cannot come out at this time due to her shyness. Thus she has sent me to collect the nupur. So Krishnadas understood that there must be some secret in this event. He said, this is a very valuable golden nupur. Please understand that I cannot simply hand it over to you. Let your mistress come here to claim her anklet. I will measure it against her feet. Okay. So Lalita Devi realized that this was indeed a symptom of some new pastime of Radhika Rani. She returned to Srimati Radharani and repeated what Krishnadas had told her. Then Radharani accompanied Lalita Sakhi to the kunja. Approaching Krishnadas, she extended her hand to him and requested for the anklet. With great surprise, Krishnadas said, by seeing you, it certainly appears you are the daughter of a great family. How is it possible your anklet ended up here in this kunja? Then Srimati Radharani said, Krishnadas, this is my Nikunja Mandir. Every night I come here to perform my pastime. So in great awe and ecstasy, Krishnadas said, now I understand that you must be Nikunjeshwari. If that is true, then O Srimati Radharani, O Nikunjeshwari. Nikunjeshwari means the goddess of Nikunja, that group, that Nidhivan. O Devi, please manifest your most beautiful transcendental Swarupa in front of me. I want to take your darshan in the, because they just came just a normal girl. So you will fulfill my desire of seeing your Swarupa form in this life. Please show me. So Srimati Radharani smiled and said, until now you have not had the transcendental vision to see my Swarupa form, my original Srimati Radharani form, that original Swarupa. You till now you have not come to that qualification, that level. Okay, so you have not. Radharani said that until now you have not had the transcendental vision. You don't have that vision to see my Swarupa, and but I will offer you one great benefit for your service. Srimati Radharani then took the Nupur from the hand of Krishnadas, and touching it first to the dust of Vraja, she placed the Nupur on the forehead of Krishnadas. She said, Krishnadas, you have engaged in my most dear Nikunja Seva with careful attention and without duplicity. What was the Seva you were doing? Sweeping. So, one may think the sweeping is a very low class seva. No, but here just by doing sweeping only, he got darshan of Srimati Radharani and he is directly talking. So, Srimati Radharani said, Krishnadas, you have engaged in my most dear Nikunja seva with careful attention and without duplicity. Thus, your heart has become as clean as this Kunja. As an indication of your pure service, this tilak will remain on your forehead always. I have seen for myself the pleasure you experience from my service. You have pleased me by your devotional service. My name is Shyama, and you give me Ananda by your service. Thus, from today, I give you the new name Shyamananda. So Krishnadas got a new name directly from Srimati Radharani, and name became Shyamananda. And the tilak, Radharani, what that Nupura she placed on the Braja, dust of the Braja, and then she placed on the forehead of Shyamananda or Krishnadas. So that tilak was always there. And that is why if you go to this temple of Shyamanand Prabhu's deities, Shishi Radha Shyamsundar temple, you will find that Nupur tilak there. So they are having different tilak, which is the, like, till here it will come, till the nose, like different it is. So that is the tilak made by the Nupur of Srimati Radharani. So then Lalita Sakhi came forward and gave Shyamananda a confidential mantra. She told Srimati, O Sakhi, you have given so much mercy to Krishnadas. Lalita Sakhi told to Srimati Radharani that, O Sakhi, you have given so much mercy to Krishnadas. Now please, just once, give him darshan of your Swarupa form. This is his great desire. Please fulfill it. So Lalita Devi is requesting Srimati Radharani that you please fulfill the desire of Krishnadas of seeing your Swarupa. Then, like a momentary flash of lightning, like in the cloud, this lightning will come on, like that. Srimati Radharani showed her form to Shyamananda, who fell to the ground unconscious. Just for a little moment, Radharani showed her original Swarupa to Krishnadas, and now his name is Shyamananda. So seeing that, he just fell unconscious. After some time, Shyamananda regained his consciousness. He immediately went to Shri Jiva Goswami and told him everything. Jiva Goswami embraced Shyamananda, and from that time on, all the Brajvasis referred to him by this name, Shyamananda. So this news of Krishnadas changing his tilak, his name, and even his Ishta mantra reached Hriday Chaitanya at Ambika Kalna, his spiritual master. He sent a message to Krishnadas to come back immediately. In other places, it is said Hridaya Chaitanya went immediately to Vrindavan. So there is two form of story. He was very angry to see that Krishnadas had changed his tilak, taken a new name, and started chanting a new mantra. So he asked Krishnadas the reason for his behavior. So Krishnadas was very dedicated and fully surrendered to his Guru. He did not know anyone else except his Guru. He had full faith that he had received this transcendental wealth only due to the mercy of Sri Gurudev. So in this simple surrendered state of mind, Krishnadas replied, "My dear Gurudev, you have created this situation by your causeless mercy." Hridaya Chaitanya became angry and tried to remove the tilak from Krishnadas' forehead with his cloth. But to his surprise, the more he rubbed, the more clear the tilak mark became. It was directly applied by Srimati Radharani. That night, Srimati Radharani appeared in Hridaya Chaitanya's dream and explained that she had personally given Krishnadas his new tilak and changed his name. Understanding Krishnadas' fortune at receiving the mercy of Srimati Radharani, Hridaya Chaitanya immediately went and embraced Shyamananda. So in this way, Shyamananda Prabhu received the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Okay, so that place where Shyamananda Prabhu found this Nupur is still there in Vrindavan, and you can go and see that place. Okay, so that's how Srimati Radharani blessed Shyamananda Prabhu. Okay. So, okay, one more story I think we can do, a small one. Okay, so once Srimati Radharani blessed Srinivas Acharya also, because that one also we can read today. So, it is believed by Vaishnavas that Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur and Shyamananda Pandit were partial manifestations of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu and Advait Acharya respectively. Okay, Srinivas Acharya was partial manifestation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityanand Prabhu's partial manifestation was Narottam Das Thakur, and Advait Acharya's partial manifestation was Shyamananda Prabhu, Shyamananda Pandit. Okay, so this is like after Sri Chaitanya, Nityananda and Advait Acharya appeared, and after that, after some time, again they appeared in this form. Okay, partial manifestation. Okay, so secondly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come as Srinivas Acharya to relish his own sweetness, Swa Madhuri. Mani Manjari appeared as Srinivasa to relish some special manners. After coming from Vrindavan with all the literatures written by the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Srinivas stayed at Vishnupur as the Rajguru of King Birhamvir. There he was worshipping his deity Vamsivada. One day, after his worship, Srinivas sat down to meditate upon the Nitya Leela of Lord Sri Krishna, Srinivas Acharya. Okay, so every day, actually these three were together, Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya and Shyamananda Prabhu. So previous story was about Shyamananda Prabhu, this is about Srinivas Acharya. Okay. So he was meditating upon the Nitya Leela of Lord Sri Krishna. So every day he would sit like this in meditation, and through his Siddha Deha he would serve the Lord. So returning again after some time to his Sadhana Deha. This was his regular routine, but on this particular day, time continued to pass and still he did not return to external consciousness. He had entered into the deepest region of meditation, his body completely stunned and so very still that he appeared not to be even breathing. So that when somebody reached to that highest level of bhakti, then he gets that Siddha Deha. So this is Sadhan Deha, in which we perform sadhana. And there is one called Siddha Deha. In that Siddha Deha, Siddha Deha means his original Swarupa. So they attain that. And in that Swarupa, they directly engage in the service of Shri Radha Govinda. Directly. But externally they may look like this only. So sometimes when they are in Siddha Deha, when they are engaged in the service of Radha Govinda, that time they are, sometimes their external body, this sadhan Deha, looks like dead body only. No breathing at all. It is sometimes like that. So they may get that kind of experience. They will go and they will talk to Radha Govinda and they will serve them, they will do all those things. But actually you may think that this is just lying, sleeping, like that you may feel. Okay, so that kind of thing he was meditating, Srinivasa Acharya, and it was like daily activity. But one day it was like very long time, and externally it was looking like there is no breathing at all. Okay, so but here normal sadhakas should not get these ideas that now I have got Siddha, and they start doing those activities externally, and that is called Sahajiya. That's not very good. That's Prabhupada condemned it very well. It's like bad thing. Okay, so because these great personalities, even though they were in Siddha Dehas, they were engaging directly in the service, but externally they were doing all the things properly. They were not breaking any rules. They were following all the sadhanas, chanting, cleaning, offering obeisances to all the Vaishnavas, and all those things they were doing. They were not, oh, I became Krishna. So it's not about Sahajiyas. Okay. So that day this thing happened, and whole day passed, and still Srinivas sat in the same position. Okay. So the entire night passed and still he did not move. Everyone became worried, and by the end of the second day, when there had still been no change in Srinivasa's appearance, they became very anxious and a great panic ensued. 2 days over. Okay. Everyone thought Srinivas had entered eternally into the pastime of the Lord and would any moment leave his body. Thus they began to lament. Many great personalities like King Birhambir, Vyam Acharya, Krishna Ballava and Ballavi Kaviraj came to see Srinivas in this condition, because 2 days over many people thought like now finally eternally he is going to engage in the service of Radha Govinda, and he will leave us. So holding a piece of cotton at Srinivasa's nose, they understood that breath was going on. Okay, that no breath was going on out of his body. There was no symptoms of life. There was no symptoms at all, and no one knew what to do. But finally, they remembered Ramachandra Kaviraj, who was very dedicated to his guru Srinivas Acharya. Okay, so this is another personality, Ramachandra Kaviraj. So you may hear these names every day, I think, in Darshanarti, if you remember. Ramachandra Sangamage Narottam Das. Like that this verse comes. Daya Karo Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sangamage Narottam Das. So this is only that Srinivasa Acharya. So Srinivasa Acharya, so his disciple was Ramachandra Kaviraj. Okay. So Narottam Das Thakur was same classmate, you can understand like that, of Srinivasa Acharya and Narottam Das. They are like classmate, but still in this song Narottam Das Thakur is being very humble, keeping himself very low and telling Ramachandra Sangamage Narottam Das, I will be happy with Ramachandra, who is actually lower, who is disciples level, and Daya Karo Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas. So he is asking blessing from his classmate, same level. So and trying to associate with even disciple level, because he is keeping Narottam Das Thakur is being humble. So he is teaching us how we should be humble. So he is going so down and teaching us like that. So anyway, so that is the Ramachandra Kaviraj. So only Kaviraj, Ramachandra Kaviraj could understand the mind of the Acharya. He was so dedicated disciples that he could understand the mind of his guru Srinivasa Acharya, and there was no one equal to Kaviraj, Ramachandra Kaviraj. So in this, however, Ramachandra Kaviraj was not present there. So news was sent to him and a partly dispatched to bring him to Srinivas as soon as possible. Close to Srinivas were worried. Ramchandra lived at such a great distance. What if in the meantime something inauspicious happened? So thus everybody was in a great anxiety. To their great surprise, however, on the third day, Ramchandra Kaviraj arrived there of his own accord. If one withdraws all his external thoughts and simply accepts Gurudev through his mind, words and heart as his everything, then the spiritual master becomes confined in the heart of that disciple. So Ramchandra Kaviraj was that kind of disciple, fully dedicated to his Guru. Thus he came to know of the situation of his Guru at Vishnupura, and so he arrived there on the third day. So he was such a dedicated disciple that if someone goes to that level, Guru will reside in his heart and everything he will understand. So Ramchandra Kaviraj understood by his own that what's happening there in another village with my Gurudev. So he came on the third day. So Ramchandra Kaviraj pacified everyone at Vishnupura, saying, "You should not be worried. And no one should be worried at all. Very soon the Srinivas Acharya, my Gurudev, will return to his normal situation. I am going to enter into meditation to see where he is and what pastime he is absorbed in. Wherever he might have gone, by the mercy of all of you, I will bring him back here very soon." So Srinivas Acharya, why he is unconscious? Because he is merged in some Leela with somewhere Srimati Radharani and Krishna is doing some Leela, so he went there and he is engaged in service and he is there. So Ramchandra, and externally all our people are thinking this only body, no breathing, nothing. So Ramchandra Kaviraj's disciple of Srinivas Acharya, he said, I will also go to Leela, into Leela, and I will see where is my Gurudev and I will bring him back. Okay, this is too much high things for us, but because it is Radha Ashtami, so I am just reading. Okay, so because there is no such qualification with me for speaking this kind of pastime, these are very high level pastimes. Okay, so then Ramchandra offered his obeisance to Mother Gauranga, the consort of Srinivas Acharya, and took his seat next to Srinivas. There he performed his meditation. Karuna Manjari had appeared as Ramchandra. So actually this is the thing, that these different Manjaris actually appears in this form of Gurus or Vaishnavas. So Karuna Manjari had appeared as Ramchandra to release some special rasa of Braja, and Gadadhar Pandit had manifested in the body of Ramchandra to release his own mallows. By his meditation, so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu partial manifestation is Srinivas Acharya. So similarly Gadadhar Pandit partial manifestation is Ramchandra Kaviraj. So by his meditation in the mood of Karuna Manjari, Ramchandra entered into the Nitya Leela of Radha and Krishna. There he saw all the Manjaris were in great anxiety. So Ramchandra Kaviraj entered in the Leela now. So there in the Leela he saw that all the Manjaris. So how he entered? Because he is also Karuna Manjari. So he also entered. So he saw that all the Manjaris are in very great anxiety and they are all searching for something. In great anxiety, everyone is searching for something in the waters of Yamuna. His Gurudev in his eternal form of Mani Manjari. His Gurudev Srinivas Acharya is Mani Manjari. So he had joined in the search. So his Gurudev also searching something. Because everybody is searching. So Karuna Manjari approached Mani Manjari. Seeing Karuna, Mani Manjari was very happy. She said, we were searching for the nose ring. We are searching for the nose ring of Srimati Radharani. This morning when the Sakhis went to see Sri Radha, they noticed her nose ring was missing. So they were very disturbed by this and ordered us to search for this ornament. So first is Srimati Radharani, then Sakhis, then Manjaris. So Sakhis saw that there is no nose ring is missing. So they ordered Manjaris that you go and search for the nose ring. So Last night, Srimati Radharani was engaged in the Maharasa pastimes. Afterwards, while she sported in the Yamuna, she lost her nose ring without realizing. She could not realize, but while she was sporting in the Yamuna, her nose ring fell down. So, thus, we are all here searching for the ornament. So Ramchandra Kaviraj understood that Srinivasa in his Siddha form had spent these 3 days searching for this ornament, because he entered and that time he got instruction to search, so he is searching, so he is not coming back to the external consciousness. It had not entered his mind to return to his manifested pastime before completing his Siddheya form pastime. He understood that as long as this ornament was found, Srinivas would not come back to his manifested body, because he is searching, and if he is not able to find, he will not come back, because he will keep searching. So this thing Ramchandra Kaviraj, that means Karuna Manjari, understood. So depending upon the mercy of Guru, Ramchandra Kaviraj in his Siddha form of Karuna Manjari entered into the waters of Yamuna and began to search for the ornament. Due to the mercy of his Guru, Ramchandra was able to find the ornament under a lotus leaf. So Ramchandra Kaviraj, because of the mercy of his Guru, he found this nose ring. Karuna Manjari gave the nose ring to Mani Manjari. In great ecstasy, Mani gave it to Guna Manjari, the eternal form of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who in turn gave it to Lalita Sakhi. Then Lalita Sakhi took the nose ring and gave it to Srimati Radharani. So this is the point. Who found the nose ring? Mani Manjari, Karuna Manjari. Karuna Manjari gave to Mani Manjari. Mani Manjari gave to Guna Manjari. Guna Manjari gave to Lalita Sakhi. Lalita Sakhi gave to Radharani. So here it should be noted that how in the pastime of the Lord, the mood of surrender in every personality, the mood of surrender is ever present. So the gradual process of surrender is very important in spiritual life. So there is no space for independence. Many times people want to be independent. So why, if suppose somebody is there, what we will do? If we find the nose ring, we will go and directly give to Radharani, so that Radharani will know that I only found it. Nobody could found, but I did. So that's what he will do. But here it's not the case. Nobody want independence. They are in that line of that surrender, that Guru. So everybody is giving to their Guru. So Ramchandra could have given the nose ring, the ornament, directly to Srimati Radharani to obtain her special favor. But he did not do that. Though that would achieve the goal. Because anyway, nose ring belonged to Radharani, should be given to Radharani. Still, there would be no sense of spiritual pleasure. When somebody does this direct thing, the spiritual happiness, ecstasy will not be there. Added to that would be the defect of overstepping the Guru. Even though sometimes you are more qualified than your Guru, but still we should go in that disciple succession only. We should not see now I am more qualified than my Guru, so I am overstepping him. That's not, in that way one may not get spiritual ecstasy. So this gradual process of surrender is essential in the life of a sadhaka. Always one should be following this system. Like Karuna Manjari gave to Mani Manjari, Mani Manjari gave to Guna Manjari, then Lalita Sakhi and Srimati. So this thing should be followed. It's not like now I am so much learned and so much I will overcross my seniors and like that. So being very pleased that the ornament had been found, Srimati Radharani gave chewed betel nuts to Mani Manjari, who kept the tambula bound in her cloth. Meanwhile, at Vishnupura, everyone was sitting at the... this is internally happening. Now, externally, what is that? At Vishnupura, everyone was sitting at the meditation place of Srinivasa and Ramchandra. For earlier, one was in meditation, now two are there. Suddenly, Srinivasa Acharya jumped up from his asana with a roaring sound and left his meditation. After 3 days, he came. in the external consciousness. Ramchandra also rose from his asana, seeing the two cherished devotees return to external consciousness. The residents of Vishnupura were greatly relieved. They started to dance and chant in ecstasy, glorifying Srinivasa and Ramchandra. Suddenly, in the middle of their ecstasy, they were overcome by a most wonderful smell. Everyone was bewildered by that transcendental fragrance, and no one could ascertain where it was coming from. Because when these two devotees came in the external consciousness, everybody was so happy and they started jumping and playing and Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Like that. But suddenly everyone started noticing that there is some transcendental fragrance coming from where they were not able to figure out. So at that time, Srinivasa remembered the tambul which was offered to him by the merciful Srimati Radharani. Because when they gave, so Srimati Radharani was so pleased, and that chewed tambul, this thing, she gave to Mani Manjari, right? Then what happened? He had kept that in his cloth. So Srinivasa untied his cloth, took out the tambul chewed by Radharani. So that is the nice thing. Because that chewed tambul, that betel nuts and that tambula was given in the Siddha Deha, in the that eternal pastime was happening there. But it came external consciousness, so it is there. So here Srinivasa untied his cloth, took out the tambul chewed by Radharani and gave it to Ramchandra, his wives, and the other most fortunate personalities gathered there. Everyone got that. Directly Radharani eaten that thing, they got such a glorious thing. Everyone was astonished to see how the tambul had come from the transcendental realm to the material world. Now this is the this is the wonderful thing, that this is not some material. I mean, of course, when we offer bhoga, that becomes spiritual, but this is like directly coming from the spiritual world. Radharani was eating and then gave, and here it is with Srinivasa Acharya. It's an amazing thing. So everybody was so much astonished to see that how this tambula had come from the transcendental realm to the material world. Thus, Srinivasa Acharya was blessed by Srimati Radharani. Okay. So, like that, many wonderful pastimes done. Once, a small thing, once Raghunath Das Goswami got sick, and some doctors came, some Vaidya, and they checked, and they said this Raghunath Das Goswami's stomach is upset. Why? Because he has eaten so much sweet rice. So everybody is wondering why. Because everyone was seeing that Raghunath Das Goswami does not eat anything at all. Within 6-7 days, he will go for Madhukari and beg some buttermilk. So this much buttermilk only he will drink, that's it. Everybody has seen, and people will ask him to eat, he will not eat. He was always absorbed in bhajan, like that. So when Vaidya is saying that he is eating so much sweet rice, everybody was not able to believe how it is possible. So then they asked Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami said, actually, yesterday when I was in the Siddha, like when I was meditating upon the pastime of Lord, there I offered sweet rice to Srimati Radharani, and that prasadam she gave me and I ate. So in the transcendental Leela, Srimati Radharani gave this sweet rice, kheer, to Raghunath Das Goswami. He ate, but externally in his body also he got sick. So just to show the glories of her devotees, this kind of manifestation was done by Srimati Radharani. So these are some glorious pastime or merciful behaviors of Srimati Radharani upon her pure devotees. So we were fortunate to hear them by the mercy of His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj. So we are so thankful to Maharaj and all the devotees and Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev for making us this all literatures available for us so that we can read and hear and discuss for our purification. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Shil Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Sai Maharaj ki jai. Shil Guru Maharaj की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. श्रीमती राधा रानी आविर्भाव महा महोत्सव की जय. श्रीमती श्री राधा अष्टमी तिथि की जय. श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर ललिता विशाखा अष्ट सखी वृंद की जय. हरे कृष्णा.